Immigration policies under Trump. Donald Trump's immigration policies have been nothing short of a political battleground, sparking impassioned debates across America. Whether you view him as a defender of national security or a polarizing figure, it's undeniable that immigration reform has been a cornerstone of his political agenda, and one that he has wielded with remarkable audacity. During his first term, Trump focused heavily on securing U.S. borders, pursuing aggressive measures that his staunch supporters hailed as acts of patriotism, while critics condemned them as draconian overreach. At the heart of his agenda was the southern border wall, a project that transcended physical infrastructure to become a symbol of his presidency. Although only portions of the wall were completed, Trump's relentless commitment to building this big, beautiful wall solidified his image as a leader who prioritized securing America's borders at all costs. With Trump's return to the presidency on 20th of January, a renewed drive to expand the border wall is almost certain. Expect federal funds to be diverted, regulatory hurdles dismantled, and new strategies implemented to accelerate construction. His vision for border security, however, doesn't stop at walls. If re-elected, Trump's administration will likely intensify enforcement measures, making increased deportations, expanded detention centers, and bold workplace immigration raids a central focus of his second term. Yet, these policies come with sharp consequences that ignite fierce public discussion. Opponents argue that such measures overwhelmingly target vulnerable populations, especially asylum seekers and undocumented immigrants who have lived and contributed to U.S. society for years. But Trump and his allies counter, contending that safeguarding American jobs, reducing crime, and eliminating security risks caused by illegal immigration justify such hard-nosed policies. So, where do you stand? Are Trump's actions a necessary stance for national security, or do they signal a troubling disregard for human rights? Let's talk, because this debate isn't going away. Trump's approach to immigration extends far beyond border security. His first term saw unprecedented cuts to the U.S. refugee admissions program, a move that, depending on your perspective, either underscored his commitment to prioritizing Americans or highlighted a deep neglect of humanitarian responsibilities. In 2020, under Trump's leadership, the refugee cap was slashed to just 15,000, an all-time low since the program began in 1980. Behind these numbers was a message: America must first defend its own citizens before offering sanctuary to the world's persecuted. Critics were quick to sound the alarm, warning of the ripple effects such policies would have on global refugee resettlement efforts. But for supporters, this wasn't heartlessness. It was a pragmatic response to national security threats and a bold realignment of American priorities. Should Trump secure a second term, these restrictive practices are poised to continue. Refugee admissions will likely remain tightly capped, while the vetting process could become even more rigorous. Such measures, although framed as bolstering safety, don't come without significant ethical dilemmas. But here's where the dialogue deepens. Is limiting refugee admissions a necessary protective measure in an increasingly volatile world? Or does it betray the core values that have defined the land of the free for generations? Moreover, how does a country reconcile the tension between its right to sovereignty and its moral obligations to the global community? These are the critical questions that merit your voice, because immigration reform doesn't just shape our borders, it shapes who we are as a nation. Trump's forthcoming immigration policies could also include further reductions in temporary protected status, TPS designations, provisions that allow individuals fleeing violence or disaster-stricken nations to stay temporarily in the U.S. If these designations are cut back, thousands risk being forced back into unsafe and unstable conditions. The president's supporters herald such moves as yet another stance for America First policies. In their view, reducing TPS prevents abuse of temporary programs, ensuring that they don't evolve into permanent residency by loophole. Yet, critics take a starkly different stance. They argue that TPS isn't about politics, it's about protection. This isn't just a policy discussion, it's a moral reckoning. Should America uphold its tradition of providing temporary relief for those in crises? Or is it time to reevaluate who qualifies for humanitarian aid within our borders? The stakes are high, and the answers aren't easy. As Trump's immigration policies loom large on the horizon, it's becoming increasingly clear that they are more than political initiatives. They are a referendum on America's identity. Supporters celebrate his boldness in addressing issues of illegal immigration head-on, while opponents see his actions as an erosion of compassion and ethical governance. At the heart of this fiery debate lies a fundamental question. Can a nation prioritize its borders without compromising its values? Balancing national security with human rights is a challenge that demands more than partisan shouting. It calls for thoughtful public discourse. Decisions made today will ripple for decades, shaping not just policies, but the moral fabric of our country. So let's get involved. Your voice matters in this debate. Immigration reform, national security, and humanitarian ethics. These conversations belong to all of us. Where do you stand?